When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
The last show with David Cooper. Procrastinate your life away with us.
In 8 days, it's October 31st, and you won't believe what happens next. Halloween. It's Conspiracy Corner. We are joined by Nathan Radke, a professor of conspiracy studies at Humber Polytechnic, who co-hosts the Uncover Up podcast, which you should check out. My producer always writes that he's an alleged non-alien, and we are going to talk conspiracy theories that are scary. So, I don't know, grab something that gives you comfort, like a blanket, and perhaps it won't be spooky. Nathan, welcome to the show.
Boo.
Man, I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, don't answer that question. It wasn't
that's the truly scary thing.
It wasn't even a question. All right. I feel like we're getting back to the basics. In previous weeks when we've done Conspiracy Corner with you and your colleague Lee, it's been like complicated, deep stuff. We're talking like double bluffs. We're talking like, I don't know, false flag events. I feel like we're getting to the basics today. Spooky, perhaps Halloween themed urban legends.
Yes.
And we're going to do it in the form of a game show.
Yeah. So I'll be the host. You're the guest.
Oh.
I think this is going to catch on. It's going to sweep the nation.
Yeah.
We've got a title.
It's a good one.
And the title is
this story true, or is this story not true at all, but instead false? It's not a mouthful at all.
And we don't have a studio audience, so you're just going to have to imagine the cheers and the applause.
Is this story true, or is this story not true at all, but instead false? We're going to go over some spooky, perhaps Halloween-themed urban legends, and often the truth is weirder than fiction. So I'm excited to hear them, and then we'll guess which ones are true.
Now, like any good game show, we're going to start off with a little bit of an educational preamble. So what is an urban legend? Here's the thing. Human beings, regardless of the time that they live, regardless of the culture that they're in, human beings just at their core are storytelling creatures. And it's just how we understand the world. Like a scientific hypothesis is a story that explains the natural world. Ideologies are stories that explain the social world. And stories pass on cultural norms. They create myths that contribute to cultural cohesion. Because the stories that we tell, they can kind of bind us together. They create a world of heroes and villains and rewards and punishments. And spooky stories, because it's October, they help us understand the things that we fear and then we dread. And sometimes the things that our society doesn't allow us to talk about openly. And of course, one of the classic forms of the spooky story that you remember from Recess, I'm sure, the urban legend.
Yes, Recess, urban legends, spooky stories, cultural narratives. Let's hear the first one.
All right. So here we go. Buckle up. There's a couple of teens, and they've driven up to Makeout Point to get makey outy.
Ooh, smooching. I like it. I mean, I wasn't cool enough to do that, but I knew people who were.
Yeah, you heard that people were doing this sort of thing. Now, unfortunately, in this town, Makeout Point is right beside a prison for the criminally insane. And just as things are getting hot and heavy in the car, the song on the radio gets interrupted with a news bulletin. A murderous psychopath has escaped from the prison and is on the loose. Now, that's bad news, but the good news is he's very easy to recognize because instead of where his left hand should be, he's got a hook.
Ooh.
Now, the girl hearing this on the radio gets nervous in the service, and she demands that the boy stop what he's doing and drive her home. But the boy tries to reassure, no, everything's fine, they're totally safe, because obviously he's trying to still get a little action. But the girl is adamant. And so finally frustrated, the boy agrees. He slams the car into gear. He drives them both away from the spot, peeling rubber on the grass somehow. And they arrive at the girl's house. She gets out of the car. As she's closing the car door behind her, she screams. The boy gets out of the car and runs around to see what the problem is. And dangling from the outside car door handle is the bloody hook that had been ripped off the arm of the killer when they had driven away from Makeout Point.
Wow. So the woman kind of, by getting the man to drive, or the kid, I guess, saved the day. They ripped the killer's hook right out of his hand.
Yes, the killer was right outside the car door. He was just opening the door. He was just about to get all murdery, but instead gets his hook ripped off and the kids are safe. So now the question is this story true, or is this story not true at all, but is instead false?
I don't know. It sounds plausible, but it also sounds like the kind of tale that your hometown would tell. It would be an local urban legend, spooky for Halloween. I really don't know, but just I know that you told me at the break that 2 were going to be true and 1's going to be false. Did I just spoil the game?
No, it's still good.
So I have a better chance.
This game is unspoilable. It is that strong a concept.
All right, well, I have a better chance of it being true because 2 are true and 1 is false. So if I don't know, I should guess true. So I'm guessing
Is this
true.
going to get into the Monty Hall problem?
Well, we just kind of did, yeah.
Uh-oh.
But
we don't have time for that.
It's the reverse Monty. It's the easy to understand Monty Hall problem. I have a better chance if I don't know of guessing true. So I'm guessing true.
Oh, this one is false.
Darn! Well, now, and I've ruined the game because the next 2 are true.
Insert buzzer noise.
All right, well, the game is now called Is This Story True or Is This Story Not True at All, but is instead false, except the story is true because there is only one false one, and we've already done it.
Now, in this game's defense, this is the first time we've ever played it. There's going to be bugs that we work out. This is the pilot. We'll edit some of this out when we pitch it to the networks.
Exactly. What network runs Jeopardy? Because I don't, is it NBC, CBC, ABC, FBC, RSVP?
CNN?
Could be. When we pitch this, we got to work out the kinks. Anyway, this story is a local urban legend, though.
Yes. And it's also a classic morality tale because this is one of the things about urban legends in general. They have a couple key attributes that separate them from normal stories. One is, unlike things like fairy tales, urban legends are supposed to have really happened. You know, the classic line, "Oh, no, this happened to a friend of mine." And another aspect of them is that they tend to be gruesome. And there's a good reason for that, because each story has to compete with all the other stories. And the more gruesome and shocking a story is, the more memorable it is, the more likely a person is to pass it on. Like if I give you 2 stories, we're out at recess together, and I say, hey, this kid from a school 2 towns over ate Pop Rocks and drank soda and got a sore stomach. Or I say, hey, this kid from a school 2 towns over ate Pop Rocks and drank soda and his head exploded. Which of those 2 stories are you going to repeat?
The head exploded one, most definitely. It's like bread and aqua seltzer. You give it to birds and they explode. I don't think that's actually true, but it's very sensational. And so I'm sure kids, poisoned a lot of birds with aqua seltzer or whatever.
Yeah, because it's memorable. So same thing is true of this. It's got this sort of gruesome aspect to it. And also, it's a morality tale. It's trying to establish a social norm. So this one comes out in the early 1950s at a time when society's changing a little bit. Teenagers are getting more freedom and autonomy. Cars are getting more common and cheaper and more reliable. And so this is a story not about the dangers of, crazed killers with hooks for hands, but obviously you can claw back some points here. What's this story really about? What's it really trying to scare people away from?
Young people from making out.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding. Partial credit. Yeah, because if they had kept going the way they were going, getting all makey-outy, obviously they would have been killed. Also, notice it was the girl's responsibility to put a stop to things.
Yeah, I was thinking it's a little ugly. Like the guy's pushing her with safety stuff. It sounds like a real, 60s narrative with the dude in the car. Come on, stay a little longer, baby. Kind of gross when you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing about these stories. Sometimes it's in the false stories that we get the most truth because we learn something about the society that creates them and circulates them. And so even though the story itself isn't true, I feel like we learn quite a little bit of truth about society from the hook and the car door story.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
It is Conspiracy Corner, and in 8 days, it's Reverse Friday the 13th, October 31st, Halloween, and we are talking spooky Halloween-themed urban legends. Nathan Radke is here. He is a professor of conspiracy studies. He co-hosts the Uncover Up podcast. People claim he's not an alien. Nathan, welcome back to the program.
To quote myself from earlier, boo.
Thank you. Had a better. I feel like you're going to have to do that 30 or 40 more times to get. It's like the joke when it starts really strong, it starts to get annoying. It's like the annoying valley, and then it's funny again because it's so repetitive cliff that it'll hit at the end.
Like Sideshow Bob and the Rakes.
There you go. Spooky Halloween-themed urban legends in the form of a game show. We are playing, is this story true or is this story not true at all, but instead false, except we answered all the false questions. Therefore, this urban legend is true. A very easy-to-understand game that we're going to pitch to all the networks soon. Nathan, what is our next spooky urban legend, and what can we learn from it?
No, actually, I should say that one of the following is true, and one of them is sort of true in a weird way. So there's still a little bit of wiggle room here.
Yeah, but if there's some surprise about the answer, you just gave it away.
Oh, man, we have really got to focus group this game show.
We do.
Okay. But instead, we'll press forward. All right, story two.
Story two.
Haunted house attractions are always popular around Halloween. And back in the 1970s in California, there was a particularly creepy haunted house at a fun park. Now, thousands of paying customers lined up to walk through the attraction. And one of the highlights was a particularly disturbing-looking wax dummy that was hanging on one of the walls. Now, one day, a TV show was being filmed at that haunted house, and one of the crew members moved the wax dummy. Except, when the crew member moved the dummy, its arm fell off, and inside the arm was human bone and tissue. It had been a real corpse the entire time.
Oh, my goodness. I would have guessed this one was false for sure.
And this one, of course, is true. Completely true.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if you're going to dump a body and you want to be a creep and scare everyone and be a real sociopath, psychopath type, although on the show a few days ago we learned that psychopaths aren't real, but that's not important. Why not hide the body in a haunted house and just scare the whole town?
I mean, that would be a pretty weird explanation. The actual explanation is somehow much stranger.
Oh.
Okay, so Elmer McCurdy, which is one of those names from the past, so you know this is an old-timey story. Nobody's going to be named Elmer McCurdy now.
How dare you? My son is named Elmer McCurdy.
Oh, well, you could bring it back. So Elmer McCurdy was an unsuccessful bank robber in the first decade of the 20th century, and he had a specialty. And his specialty was using the wrong amount of nitroglycerin to break into safes. And so sometimes he didn't use enough, the safe door didn't open, and sometimes he used too much, and he destroyed everything inside. And in 1911, after another spectacularly unsuccessful robbery, he gets shot by the police. And when his body went unclaimed, the funeral home director embalmed it and then propped it up in the funeral home and charged people a nickel to look at it because the past is a weird place.
Interesting. So it wasn't quite a haunted house that the body was in, and the story's only kind of half true.
Oh, but the story continues.
Oh, boy.
Because 5 years and an untold number of nickels later, two men showed up at the funeral home claiming to be McCurdy's brothers, and they take the body. But they're not McCurdy's brothers. They own a traveling carnival, and they wanted McCurdy as an exhibit. So they show him for a while, and then it gets sold to a few other carnival owners. It ended up as a traveling advertisement for an anti-drug exploitation movie in the early 30s, like a Reefer Madness kind of movie.
Whoa.
Then it gets stored in a warehouse for a few decades and shows up as a prop in a movie in the 1960s, and eventually gets sold to an amusement park in California, by which time people had forgotten that this prop was actually the remains of a human being. And then in 1976, the TV show The $6 Million Man was being filmed there, and a crew member moved it and discovered it was a dead body.
So it just kind of got passed along. It ended up in a prop house. I actually know someone who owns a prop house, and I feel like they're totally disorganized. They never know what's in there.
Yeah, there could easily be the corpses of bank robbers in there.
Yeah, and it's just this old-timey embalmed charge a nickel thing in the 1800s or whatever, early 1900s. That seems normal for that decade. Ends up in a prop house, ends up in a haunted house. Boom. No one thinks it's real, because why would there be a corpse that's real, and then it is real?
And by that time, it had been so wrinkled and shriveled that it didn't look like a body anymore, but it still was.
All right. I guess the moral of the story is if you have wrinkled and shriveled props that seem really old, check them to make sure they're not human remains. A practical lesson that we can all learn from.
Another lesson, use the correct amount of nitroglycerin.
Can we just do a quick aside? How does that open a safe? Is that an explosive?
It is.
Oh, okay. That's the aside. Makes sense now. I don't feel like people don't know that. As you're saying it, I'm like, oh, clearly we know that nitroglycerin is used for explosives to open safes.
Of course. So now we got story 3, the poison candy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this one gets told and retold, and it's razor blades and check your candy. And there may have been like one instance of it, but it created a real moral panic around Halloween in North America.
Oh, yeah.
And that exists today. And the number of people that are poisoned from candy is like you're more likely to get stung by killer bees. It's not that it hasn't happened. It's just societal fear that... I'm just giving the moral of the story before you tell the story, but I'll stop.
Again, this game show, we're definitely going to need to work on this game show. But you make an excellent point. I will say that, so I guess I give you some credit for that at least. So this is one we all heard as kids growing up. If you get an apple from a neighbor while you're trick-or-treating, make sure you slice it up before you eat it, or it might slice you up because there's going to be razor blades in it.
Also, who's giving out apples at Halloween? That's rude. Unless there's caramel.
Yeah, I mean, that's worse. That's worse. I'd rather eat razor blades.
Yeah.
And, of course, there were also stories that people were putting rat poison in chocolate bars or dosing candy with LSD. And so, as you said, this caused a bit of a moral panic, particularly in the 1980s, which was, let's face it, a bit of a moral panicky time.
Mm-hmm.
But this story is true and tragic and sad, but weird. Because a kid did die from cyanide-laced pixie sticks on Halloween in 1974. But the odd thing is, this story has been circulating since the 50s.
Interesting.
And so the actual poisoning occurred after the legend had been circulating for over a decade. And it wasn't a stranger who poisoned the kid, it was the kid's own father.
Okay. Wow.
And what had happened was this father had heard the urban legend, which wasn't true, and figured it would be the perfect way to kill his kid and get $60,000 worth of life insurance.
Awful.
And so not only did he poison his own kid, but he also had distributed some to some other kids to cover his tracks. But those kids hadn't eaten the pixie sticks by the time his kid did. So what makes this one so strange is that it was originally fiction and then sadly became true because someone else believed it.
Interesting. And I'm not saying to parents, don't check candy, don't worry who's giving your kid candy, do what you want. You know, I'm just saying the risk, the actual risk, if you look at number of deaths, is minuscule to the point where it can be rounded down to nothing. But yeah, if you want to be, don't quote me, don't sue me. Allegedly. Yeah. I'll just say the word allegedly so you can't sue me.
Yeah, if your candy smells like almonds and it isn't an almond candy, maybe don't eat it.
Is almond the smell of poison?
It's the smell of cyanide.
Oh, see,
this is a bit of a physics lesson today.
We're learning things today. If you smell almonds in your food, if it's almonds, great. That makes sense. Otherwise, could be almond extract, though. There's a lot of good cakes with almond extract.
That's true, and it could be almonds that are poisoned with cyanide. So if it smells like extra almonds, if your almonds smell extra almondy, I don't think anyone should take any of this advice from this game show.
Well, I just got a call from our agent. We're funded. We got $1 billion budget, and we're going to be on primetime television globally tomorrow. Remember that music video by Gangnam Style? Our show's going to be like that. It's going to be a viral sensation.
Amazing.
What lesson can we quickly learn about this one?
Well, I think, again, the lesson is that because we're storytelling creatures, we have to ask ourselves, why are we telling these stories? And ask, why are we believing and spreading these urban legends? You can learn so much about the time period that these stories are circulating in. And so much about what people are afraid of and what they fear and what they hate, and sometimes what they secretly desire. And so, as we've talked about before, there is a lot of truth to be found in lies.
Check out Nathan's podcast, The Uncover Up. Nathan's a professor of conspiracy studies at Humber Polytechnic. He joins us every other week with his colleague Lee for Conspiracy Corner. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us.
Boo.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.